welcome to the second episode of Field Day Fun. My name is Drew Burris. I will be your host along with this saga. And I told you last episode that this is kind of to help all PE teachers around with some ideas for Field Day. Some of you might be in person, some of you might be virtual, or you might have a little bit of the hybrid for this year. But I brought along some of my Field Day friends to help you with their ideas to get through the rest of the year and have a really awesome day. Today, my guest is Bo Phillips. Bo, how are you?
I'm doing good. Drew, how are you today?
I am really great. I'm in the beach theme right now, so it's getting really close. We're down to about 27 days for our field day. So the kids are watching me bring prizes in, so they're getting really excited.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, so just like last time, what we did with our last guest, we're going to play a game called 5 Fun Facts. I'll ask you a question, and then you try to do your best at answering that question. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, let's go ahead and get started with number 5. Tell us a bit about yourself, Bo, what you teach and where you teach at.
Okay. I teach K through 5 elementary in Elk Grove Village, Illinois, which is about 25, 30 miles west of Chicago, right near O'Hare Airport. So
Gotcha.
planes flying over all day. I tell the little ones that I can make a plane appear every minute at recess, but haven't had that joke to use this year. So, but yeah, I've been there for 18 years. Love it. And actually student taught in the same district. So I've known one district pretty much all of my teaching career.
Good. Nice. Yeah, I can kind of relate with the airplane thing. We kind of were just told, I don't know, back when I was student teaching, our teacher told us, just go with it and kind of make it a little bit of a project with them. So we have wind. We have like these leaf tornadoes that happened outside the door because my gym has like the doors right next to it. So they'll go, ooh, ah. And we like, do you know how that forms? Kind of getting them to kind of think a little bit. We have rain that hits the top of the roof and they always go, oh. So I usually have to pause the lesson to just like, well, how does rain form? So, integrating a little bit of science in there. So yeah, it helps with that. Yeah. So that's
yeah.
It helps with the play thing. I like that. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, man, let's go to number 4. What is your teaching platform this year?
So it's been quite a last 13 or 14 months, wherever we're at in that timeline. But I am currently a hybrid. I have about 75% of my students back in person, 4 days a week. We just recently moved to a full day. And that's only been really since March 29th. So if I went all the way back, I finished the year like everybody, just pushing out remote stuff.
Right.
I never even saw my kids in person after March 13th. I started seeing kids in person after winter break. So in January, we went to a hybrid. You were in group A on Monday, Tuesday, or you were in group B Thursday, Friday. Wednesday was always our remote planning day for staff. We slowly moved to a 4-day hybrid, and then we went to a 4-day full day. And the full day started March 29th. So that was nice. One, just because we're still making progress. We're moving towards being back to normalcy. But what that last change did also, the full day, is I got back my 40 minutes of time because I was only seeing the kids for 20 minutes.
Oh, man.
And not often. Maybe once a week, sometimes twice. We kind of have a funny Wednesday schedule. It's we see either an entire grade level for like 30 minutes. They rotate through all their specials. Or we were seeing sometimes 3 grade levels at a time, but online. And so, I would get maybe 125 kids on a Zoom and I'm trying to do something for 30 minutes. But so we're at that point now where we're getting close to, but I have a feeling that this is kind of be like the last change of the year. I don't think we're going to get to anything. The only other change that could happen is that Wednesday becomes an in-person day and then we're 5.
Gotcha.
But,
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, and I'm not criticizing any of the changes. It's just been like every time there is a change, it really does affect us so much differently than a classroom teacher. So
yeah, definitely.
like, I'm getting excited for another week. But I still, like, I have, like, I just don't know how the lesson's going to go. Like, you always reflect on a lesson from one group to another, but like, I reflect like so much more instantly now on an activity, and I'm ready to go 5 different directions.
Right.
Um, and so, um, yeah, so that's where we're at now.
Okay.
And I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, and this will be something that we can talk about again later, is I'm hoping that I'm currently not able to share supplies. So the students can use some equipment, but I cannot have anything touched by the same students during the same time. There was a meeting Friday. I'm hoping some news is coming out tomorrow or later this week on that changing for PE, but then also changing for a possible field day, some more
Gotcha.
outdoor activities that I can plan for the classroom teachers as well as myself. So I'm hoping for some good news tomorrow. Crossing my fingers.
Gotcha. That's good. Yeah, I don't we started back in August as normal. And when the kids first walked in that first day, I was just overjoyed. I mean, yeah,
Sure.
we were done. We were cut short on the 13th too, but I was gone that day. I was supposed to go with my daughter on a field trip, so I took that Friday off. So I technically wasn't there a little bit longer than some people. And the virtual, we have some students that are still virtual, and it's been a struggling year. Everybody's went through a lot of things, and some people are in person, some people are still virtual, which I give them a lot of credit on that. I thought it was just kind of a trouble finishing at the end of last year for those couple months. But
Sure.
those people who have been doing it all year this year, a lot of credit goes out to them. Of course, we do
Right.
have a lot of great PE teachers on social media developing a lot of different types of games they can do through their platform of maybe like we use Seesaw. Seesaw has been our thing. We got a subscription for that this year. So, yeah, it's
But
been
it's like, and I know you talked about this with Kelly. It's like, you don't know unless you try.
right.
And
Hmm.
I've certainly tried a lot of things, and I'm so thankful for the people that I've connected with, like yourself on Twitter. And um, there's just so many ideas out there. And I mean, the last part of the year was like, I don't know what happened. I mean, I don't know what
Yeah.
my students were doing. I was pushing out a lot of stuff, and I was coming up with a lot of great things, and sharing things with other people and taking ideas, borrowing, but like, I didn't have any contact with them. So when I got to August, it was, I mean, Zooms for me didn't start until August for me. I
Gotcha.
didn't have that last, 9-10 weeks of the school year to experiment. So, and there's just been a lot of learning on the go. And I have a lot of low income families. The internet access has been a struggle for a long time.
Hmm.
I think we've done a good job of providing that for those families that need it.
That's good.
But when you've got families that live in a trailer, and then I'm trying to get them up and moving, and
Yeah.
they've got siblings there trying to learn in class, parents are trying to work from home. It's just there's so many unique situations that it's out of your hands, and it's really hard to just keep that motivation
Yeah.
and keep that engagement going.
Yeah, this has definitely been the year where you had to jump outside of your box, even if you didn't want
Yeah.
to learn new things. And I guarantee, if you talk to any of the PE teachers on social media that have made all this wonderful stuff that's out, they could probably tell you they've never done that before in their career
Yeah.
until maybe starting this year. So yeah, kudos again goes out to all of them. Okay, so for number three, this answer is going to be about the same from everybody, but I'm just kind of seeing how you did it. With last year's field day, I know just about everybody was online sending it out. How did yours go? Did you have much success from it? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I'll be honest. I don't think we had a big success on it. No.
Yeah.
Rather than, I've got a good group of PE teachers in my district, and one in particular, Julie Bakken and I do a lot of talking, and we have similar demographics for our students, so we usually bounce ideas off one another. And what we did was we took a lot of the open phys ed field day ideas. We added some of our own, and we just kind of made our own kind of tutorial videos. We made our own like little promotional videos, similar like yours on iMovie.
Yeah.
And then what we did was we created different Google forms for the students to turn in their scores, and it would
Gotcha.
automatically go to us. We would track them, and then we kind of promoted a friendly competition, just like, hey, see if you can make the Hall of Fame. You know, if you're in the top. We didn't put a number on it. We were going to celebrate, and you know, but like, I mean, we did it the entire district. So rather than push out like I had a version, Julie had a version. We just decided, about 7 of the 11 of us together kind of pushed out our version, and so we thought we'd have so much data coming in tracking.
Uh-huh.
It didn't work
Yeah.
out. So
I
say
I
like,
kind of yeah. I kind of I didn't have much either. I even and the ones that I did, I originally said here because I didn't know what they had at home. And it was
right.
very bare minimum. I said here, create your own station. If I think it's a top choice, I'll get it published. So I gathered however many stations we had and sent it off to PE Central, and it got published. But yeah, it didn't feel right. I did put some of the open field day events in there too, and I've got a couple of videos on that. But I mean, you know,
Yeah, and Julie and we've talked about this, and others have said the same thing. Like, you can't take it personal.
right?
It was a rough time in everyone's lives going on, and so I think it was hard at first, and I was dejected and down about it. But then I'm like, you know what? It's going to be okay. I mean, we have so many more opportunities. But yeah, that's what we did. We took the open ideas and added a couple of our own, and because there was like you said before, so many great things out there. Like Mike Morris has so many great at home little
Oh
challenges.
yes, yeah, yeah.
If people aren't following Mike Morris, then there's a person to follow.
The name drop right there.
Name
Yeah.
drop, yeah. So and then there's just so many more, and then I think you've done it. Is like, if those kids can create their own challenge or whatnot, that was the stuff that I probably got the most of in my last 2.5 months of school year.
Mm-hmm.
Is I'm on Seesaw too. Is I'd have students just send me videos, and they're like, Mr. Phillips, look, we did a challenge in our house, and this is what you have to do, and they explain it, and then they performed it.
Right.
Like, that was probably some of the best stuff that I got, like, to stay in contact. But then I'm like, hey, this is great for a field day. If we had to do it at home on our own, here's an event. Yeah.
I know we did the Plinko with the stairs in our house. That one was not created. I think it was Montgomery PE a couple of years ago that made the one on the hill, and I did that with my students, and they loved it. And I was trying to think of things to do for field day to add in, and I made my own because I have to do that. It's in my blood. I have to make stations and show it because I mean it's like my holiday. And I did it with my daughters and just dropping the ball down the stairs, and Price is Right even liked it. I mean, come on, it was a great thing. And yeah, that was, I understand, it wasn't the same, but hopefully maybe now it's starting to kind of change. The wheels are starting to roll a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go on to number 2. Now, I don't know if you're like me or not, but I had to take my plans from last year and put them on pause, which I'm not really that patient of a person, especially around that time. And, all my ideas that I was supposed to do last year have been on my iPad, patiently waiting, like they're locked in a vault. So I actually am blessed. I get to do a field day this year with the students outside. And, I'm just curious, what is your idea for this year if you're able to have one?
So let me tell you what, in the years past, for about the last 6 or 7 years, the format that I've used, and it's been it's worked well because I end up giving the teachers like the entire day off, essentially. I do a K1-2 and a 3-4-5.
Right.
And so what our school is Salt Creek, and we call the event Salty Palooza. I don't know how the name came up in a conversation once, and I ran with it one year, and then it stuck. But the way it would work is, like, if K1-2 was out in the field rotating through all your standard field stations, 3-4-5 rotated around about every 45 minutes to larger stations as an entire grade level. And I tapped into some resources that I had. I had a parent that was a DJ, and he would always DJ for free.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Huge resource. If you have something like that, you got to take advantage of it.
Oh, yeah.
So this dad ran just a fun. He did all the dances, the limbo, all the stuff. Then we did a photo booth. and we had students pay for pictures. And
Mhm.
I mean, bless the teachers that worked that station, because that was probably the hardest one to work. Kids trying to pick what thing they want, who they want to
Right.
take their picture with, whatever. And then the third rotation was just something called Games Galore, and I had like my gym outside my gym and the lunchroom just all set up with like art, like kind of like carnival games and stuff
Oh,
like that,
cool,
things that they
cool.
could just get in line with and do quickly. So those were like the bigger stations, and then they would just flip the AM and the PM.
That's
That
nice.
worked great for a long time. We did stop doing the DJ booth and the photo booth; it just became too much. But
Yeah.
um, for this year, what I'm hoping is that good news comes, that we can start using some stuff. But if we are virtual, what I'm thinking of, and I'm still working on this idea, is I'm not sure if you're familiar with the app Goose Chase.
Yes, I am. Yep.
Okay,
We've used that a lot
so
this year.
so we just did our first one about 2 weeks ago during our spring break, and
Yes.
huge success. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, lots of family engagement. I had probably like 22 families. Um, and I know that a lot more will come out. I posted a quick iMovie recap of some of the highlights of it recently. I know some families have seen that. So I was thinking that that could be a way for them to be showing me different stations at home. Now the problem with Goose Chase is you're limited to the 30 seconds of video.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm still thinking that that's going to be one sort of avenue to reach out to those students that aren't going to be in person. So I could do it. I could have a Goose Chase virtual field day, and then whatever students are allowed to be in person, I think we're going to be able to come up with something that's either limited equipment, no equipment, or um, within our guidelines being allowed. But
Gotcha.
I usually have about 10 to 12 stations, and they rotate around about every 10, 15 minutes.
Gotcha.
I don't always do a theme. I did do a superhero one last year because our,
Nice.
our, our school theme was learning is our superpower.
Mhm.
Um, and so that was a lot of fun. It does. I'm a fan of themes.
Uh,
I don't promote it probably a year out like you do. Uh,
My
I,
bad.
I think that no, I think that's great because you're organized and you have the ideas.
Oh yeah.
But then you can play into that theme within your class throughout the whole
Right.
year.
Right.
But I'm hoping that I'll find out this week that I'll have outdoor time and space, and then it'll be pretty much what it's been in the past. Just the relay races, all the fun challenges and stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, I usually take, like you mentioned, with my themes, I kind of put it into the classroom. We'll do lessons. I'll make posters around the gym, and it's kind of gets them amped up. It's a year waiting, so
Yeah.
hopefully get them understanding a lot of the concepts of it too. So yeah, so that's good. So we'll have to wait and hear and see if you get your in-person one or if you go to a
Right.
virtual one. But
Well,
yeah,
because
go
yeah,
ahead.
talking with another Illinois PE friend of mine, Derek Beal. He and I and some others were talking about possibly doing some sort of like decathlon, and
Gotcha.
where each event is going to cover one of your either skill components of fitness or health components of fitness, and so like that would be like the theme, and we're still pushing out some content,
Gotcha.
um, and we're probably then not going to be so tied to larger stations and stuff like
Right.
that.
That's a great idea. Yeah, that I've not heard of that before. I think that's an excellent idea to use just in case. Okay, and let's go to our last one. Favorite field day activity. This could be one that you have actually participated in, or one that you actually created yourself. Can you think of one?
Well, the simplest one and always the most popular one is just the sprinkler. They just run through the
Yeah,
sprinkler. That
that
is just
water. Yeah.
that is the station to cool off and get wet. But I would say recently in the last 5 years, I think one that was really popular, really fun was I think we just called it parachute basketball. And
Oh.
so we took a giant like tire, a
Mhm.
really big heavy tire, put it in the middle of the parachute, and then you toss out a couple different gator balls or whatever, and your team is trying to get their ball into the tire. I
Gotcha.
mean, because usually you see kids playing a parachute, they give up after like 10 seconds
Their arms
sometimes.
get tired.
Oh, if the ball doesn't go in, I mean, there might have been a game that went on for like 2 straight minutes. And moms were like looking at their faces. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna have to stop them at some point. Like they need a break.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But that was just a really good. I'd ask, and we'd always ask the kids afterwards, like, how do your arms feel after that? They're like, I can't lift them. I can't lift them. Like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, yeah, you guys really worked hard today. It's good.
Well, I said that's funny you mentioned that because I have this to show you.
Ah, just like my neighborhood. Yep. I think I had number 1 and number 2 written on the balls, I think.
Just that sound of
Look at that. Look at that. I mean, boy, we didn't even discuss that. How about that? Man, you are prepared.
yeah, I am ready. Yes, I seen that and I was like, oh yeah, I've got to show this. I'm glad you even mentioned that too because I had that ready to go for you.
And I'm gonna almost 100% guarantee that was a find on Twitter somewhere.
Yeah, it's anything basically created, it's going to be there to help people. And I remember seeing that when you did that, I was like, oh, I bet if I can dig through Twitter, I can find that. Yeah, that looked like a really fun. Just the
Well,
sounds,
yeah,
the sounds
and the tire was out for a couple of days before that day, so all the kids were like, "Mr. Phillips, what's the tire for?" I'm like, "We're gonna have to wait and find out. We're gonna have to
there you go.
Find out. I don't know."
Oh yeah, I figured you like if I put that up, and I'm glad you mentioned it too. Okay, Bo, great job on that too. Can you tell the viewers maybe some contact info of how they could get a hold of you if they have any questions?
Certainly. On Twitter, I am at Bo Phillips 10. So BOPHILLIPS 10 for the numbers 10. Otherwise, certainly you can email me at phillips.robert@ccsd59.org. So that Phillips Robert guy, he's the real serious one. Robert is my birth name, but
all right.
I don't really respond to it. So
yeah, I gotcha. It's kind of like Andrew with me. Yeah, I think my mom's the only one that calls me that. So yeah. Well, Bo, man, I've had great time catching up with you over these things. I appreciate you coming out and sharing your ideas. I think that, if you have to go virtual, those are some great ideas that would definitely help some teachers.
Yeah, I'm not short on ideas, which is a good thing, good problem to have. But obviously, we'll just keep our fingers crossed that we'll get closer to what we really want. But hey, I'm enjoying trying new things still.
Yeah.
So.
And that's about the theme of this year is just trying new things and seeing how well it goes.
Yeah.
So for Bo Phillips, my name is Drew Burris. Thank you for watching our second episode of Field Day Fun. And just remember, no matter the style this year, have fun. We'll see you next week with another guest.